So what this machine is going to do is it's going to allow us to both cut and engrave into different types of material. So Lexi, what did you use the machine for?
I actually used it in sculpture with Miss Olson, and we cut out shapes.
Yeah, so you cut out shapes from like kind of that thinner masonite that we had.
Yeah,
right?
it was like through that cardboard stuff. Like, no, not cardboard. It was like wood or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was a thicker material.
Yeah.
It was like probably an 1/8 inch masonite that you were able to cut out and then you were able to like kind of paint on. So use 3D materials with this too. Okay, so in addition to what's pretty popular is obviously like engraving onto different materials. So it can engrave onto wood, it can engrave onto cardboard, we can do it on the glass, so therefore we can do mirrors. We can do things on ceramics. We have a rotary tool that's in here as well, so if you're doing some type of graphic design and you wanted to put like a logo on, let's say, like a pint glass or a coffee mug, we can actually put that on there and it'll put your logo onto an actual cylindrical thing. I've been doing some Yetis actually now pretty recently, so people have for the athletic program or for things that they were going to sell in like the Pirate Cove, been bringing in some things and be able to plug in the rotary tool on there. It'll spin the glass around or the mug around and actually engrave your design onto that. So it's a good way that you can put logos on some different materials for like promotional reasons. Okay. Another thing that it can do is, you heard Lexi talk about cutting out of material as well. So with this, we had some cardboard that went in there. They used Illustrator. This was done by Katie Jackson last year. So she created in Illustrator some vector files to create kind of like a cross section of a horse. And then she created like a little slotted sculpture of that animal. Okay. So if you're thinking about graphic design, you're thinking about maybe, is this the unit where you're developing like a product? And then you're making like, maybe you have some packaging that you want to do. Okay, so you can actually cut and score some of your actual packaging. Okay, so this is an example of Google Cardboards. I just had some out here. I think Mrs. Larson Horn just took them. But with cardboard specifically, what we can do is you could program it to cut out your piece, but then also score it. So you could fold it and create an actual box. Okay. And so it's a really nice way that you can create some packaging just out of a single piece of material. Cut your score lines, put it all together, glue it up, and you have kind of a professional looking finished piece. And it's a good way to kind of practice your layout skills in Illustrator as well. Okay. Then once you have your packaging, you can do a number of different things. You can engrave on there. You could probably use large format printer or the printers that Mrs. Bjork has. You could print out some things and actually attach it on there with some spray adhesive. We could use the other machine that we're going to talk about in a little bit, which is going to be the vinyl cutter, to add some decals and some other information on there as well. So you can use these kind of in conjunction with one another. So we do that a lot. We might 3D print something, want to put like a logo on there, we might use the vinyl cutter. Okay, might make some packaging with the laser cutter, and then we might want to 3D print like a little example logo or a keychain or some type of, maybe you want to 3D print one of your products or like a little prototype of your product. You can do it that way as well. Okay, so you don't have to just pick one machine and use it. You can think about how they can interact with one another. Okay, so laser can cut through, obviously cardboard, you can cut through wood. We can cut through paper. You can actually do some really, really intricate designs. Here's an example of somebody that did another cool design with Illustrator. All right, able to cut this out. But if you really wanted to do some neat stuff with like paper, you could put that in there as well. We could dial in the settings. It would have to cut pretty quick so it don't start a fire. But you can do paper in there as well. And then another thing that we've been doing quite a bit too is acrylic. Okay, so you might find a reason to use some of this acrylic, which is like a clear plastic. I always get lost with this one. But this was somebody from Mr. Khalees's class. They were doing some escape room puzzles. And so you can see this is just a good example of what acrylic looks like, and then also how it cuts through, and it gets you a really nice clean cut through that. So it looks like kind of a factory edge. There's no buffing or anything like that. When you get the settings dialed, then it cuts out really, really clean through there. Okay. All right, so that's a really, really versatile machine that we have. It doesn't do any metal. That's probably the biggest question that I get. Can I do anything with metal? The answer is no. That's a completely different set of equipment. So anything with metal, we're just going to pretty much stay away from in here.
But it can etch into metal, right? Or no?
No,
No.
not unless you have a Ceramark, which is like a spray-on adhesive or a spray-on substance that you go over the top of. But if you just put a piece of aluminum or you put a piece of steel in there, the laser just being the beam of light, it's not going to actually penetrate the surface. So,
So are Yetis plastic?
so what we do with the Yetis actually, and I have an example in my office I can show you. It takes off that coating.
Gotcha.
So if you have that Ceramark stuff, you can spray it over the top. If you had a stainless steel one, then you could do your inlay on there. So yeah, I should have made that a little bit more clear. The Yetis I'm talking about that we do are the ones that have that color coating on the outside, so it'll strip away that coating, revealing the stainless steel underneath. So, and you know, somebody the other day told me the company wanted like $80 or something for a custom Yeti. So, you know, you can go anywhere and buy a Yeti now for like $20, $25.